Greetings, Diski fam. Welcome to another installment of the Sisonke Diski Chat. I'm Len Muleko, and this is a show where we dice up all there is to dice up about South African football, and particularly looking at the big teams in Mzansi. I'm talking about Orlando Pirates, and I'm talking about Kaizer Chiefs. And today, like always, we are joined by gentlemen who have plied their trade for these two big teams. And without wasting any further time, I will introduce the gentleman, starting closest to me, Brighton Mhlongo. Welcome back to Sisonke Diski Chat.
Thanks for having me, Len.
And Siyabonga Nkosi. It's been a while. I think we had you in season 1. So welcome back to Sisonke Diski Chat. All right, gentlemen, getting into it, like I said, looking at Chiefs, looking at Pirates. The season is 5-6 games in. I'm going to start with you, Brighton. What have you made of Orlando Pirates so far, considering the players that left and the players that came in, and obviously the introduction of Coach Jose Riviero?
Yeah, look, I think the main important thing that we should look at is that the team is rebuilding, yes. Good acquisitions in critical areas, especially in the defensive line, because I think they lost quite a number of players at the back who are very experienced and very seasoned campaigners. So for me, I think one of the players that stands out for me, especially in particular, I think it's CBC from Golden Arrows, who just fitted in very well in the team and is showing a whole lot of confidence as well and consistency, which is going to push obviously the other guys. And yeah, man, for me right now, a whole lot of inconsistency from the team, starting from the first game when they played against Morocco Swallows. And there's a whole lot of fiddling with the starting lineup as well. I think that's one thing that most South African teams are struggling with in terms of striking the balance and finding the team cohesion, you know. But one would forgive Jose Riviero because you're probably thinking he's still trying to find his winning formula and trying to find the balance within the team. And so far, I think he's coming around.
Sia, Brighton mentioned something about rebuilding. What's the process of being in a setup where a whole lot of players go out, a whole lot of players come in, a new coach comes in, and you are rebuilding? Obviously, when you're rebuilding a team from somewhere in KZN or the Northwest, is not the same as rebuilding a Chiefs or a Pirates. Yeah.
You know, the issue is that one challenge that most coaches face, which now at Chiefs it's different, but at Pirates, because Coach Jose came in and he found a squad already, built. Let me put it that way, you know, and he had to come in now and implement his ways of playing, how he wants the team to play, like put an identity to a team, and he had to work with what he has there. But he hasn't complained much, because there's a lot of quality within the squad, and it suits how he wants to play, his own philosophy. Because you can see the difference in how the team is playing now to how they played last season. There's a sense of what being sure about themselves, or knowing or understanding what they're trying to do, you know. And I think it's going to get better and better. It hasn't. I don't think it has reached full fruition, you know. But you can see that it's gradually moving towards. You kind of admire what you see every now and then, you know. And I feel that a couple of players are going to step up and they're going to shine under the current leadership in Jose and the assistant that he brought, and Mandla as well. So I feel that there's a lot of positive, you know. You kind of feel that maybe Pirates will win more this season than maybe Chiefs would. You know, that's the.
Is it from what you're saying? Is it the, let me put it like, the consistency or the passing over from last season? Because if you have a look at the two teams, last season, Pirates were more, I want to say, the attractive team. I mean, they went all the way to the Confederation Cup final, and in the league here and there, I think the last 2 games against SuperSport and against Royal AM, that's where they threw away their chance to go back onto the continent. So is it taking over from last season and just implementing a few things, or is it Jose coming in and working with a machine that was already in motion?
Yes, it's part of that, but I feel that, you know, the reinforcements, because you mentioned Abo Sbisi, you know, mentioned Abo Kogi as well, that those are the players that came in, and the Pirates have never been scared to go get the quality players. And I feel that in the market, Bona, they are very aggressive, and they always get the quality into the team. So it's that also Nanine, the work that had been done before by Abo Coach Mandla and Fadlu even last season. Yeah. So it's a continuation, but it is an upgrade because Coach Jose is because of his pedigree and where he comes from, you know. So he just brought an upgrade into the team and got them to have some sense of identity and he's giving them habits that are
I think that's the main important one. I mean, sorry to interject here. I love how he's saying, you know, just giving them that mentality as well. Because one thing that we've realized about the two giants is that we've lost the tradition and the identity of the team. You know, and once you lose that within those clubs of that magnitude, it's a problem because personality, it's the main important thing. So, irregardless of whichever player that you get, it's a case of the integration from how now you integrate them with the players that have been there already, you know. And one thing that Jose has done, I mean, it's nothing different to what Coach Arthur's has done on the other side. However, with Coach Arthur's team, what you can see is that even when you're watching them from far, is that they lack that winning mentality, that self-belief, you know, that we are Kaizer Chiefs. So with Pirates, that's what Jose is doing now, where you can see that when these boys step onto that field, they have that confidence now. It's coming back slowly but surely. It's coming back to say, we are Orlando Pirates. We are the dominant team. We are the greatest team, you know. So it's just minor things that they need to tweak and have that sense of belief, you know. So when you compare the two, I think that's one thing that stands out.
How difficult is it when a new coach comes in? Obviously, I don't know how the process works because I've never played professional football. Are you consulted that, okay, Pep Guardiola is going to be your new coach, or you just come to training one day and like, hi guys, here's Mourinho, he's going to be the new head coach? And what goes into your mind that time? Because you've already set up a relationship with maybe a coach who left. Yeah. So new guy comes in. What's the thought process when that announcement is made?
Yeah, no, clubs don't usually consult players when it comes to hiring a coach. Yeah. Like you just come in and then they introduce the coach, or sometimes you even see it maybe in the media that there's been a coach that has been hired to coach you. And I think everything depends on your current situation. Like for instance, if you had a good relationship with the previous coach and then that coach leaves, obviously it brings a worry to you because now you have to start off fresh with the new one. And what if he doesn't like you? And Brighton would know that. No, you have to prove yourself over, you know.
The psychological effect on it, it's either good, it can be really good, and then it can be very, very bad at the same time. Really good in one sense, everyone now has that, you know, okay, now I need to work hard. Now I need to fight for my position. I need to improve. I need to prove to the new coach, right? Which it brings about, you know, that spark within the team to say, okay, now we want to push. Hence, you find that, I mean, most people always say, these are the same players, but it's a new coach. Suddenly they start winning, whereas they've lost 10 games on a trot. Yeah. So it's just a psychological effect. You know, it's just a case of players now having to understand their roles on the field of play, regardless of who's in charge and whatnot. Because at the end of the day, Sia knows, being a player for the coach, it's always dangerous. It's like when the coach says, I'm signing with Amazulu, come with me. You get there, he plays 2-3 games, he's gone. What's going to happen to you? We saw the same situation. I mean, obviously, won't say if that was the same case or not with Pesitao and Coach Pizzo, you know, but one would definitely tell that, well, that was the same situation. So the honors always lie with the players, to be quite honest. It's just a case of saying, I'm just here. As long as I'm still wearing this badge, I need to fight for the badge, irrespective of who's in charge.
And a change of coach obviously gives certain players a wake-up call, because I might be comfortable having played under a certain coach for maybe 2 years or 3 years, you know, and a change of coach can actually help me as a player.
But it never happens. South African football, it never happens. You know, South African players, they don't want to, we don't want to accept change. You know that it's always going to be complaints. So as long as it doesn't suit me, but it never happens in South African football.
But it should be a wake-up call, and also as a club, because the quality of the coach also impacts, you know, the sustainability of the squad or the team or the results, you know, because like Brighton knows, we get complacent very easily here in South Africa.
That's a great point.
So a change of coach will always give a wake-up call to certain players to say, okay, now step it up, you know. But some coaches have the quality to keep you on your toes all the time.
You know, you say quality of the coach. I think it's a very, very great point, because it's no secret that, for example, you made an example with Jose and Pep, right? I can't have a Pep Guardiola leaving the team, and then you bring a relatively unknown, irrespective of, okay, for example, I'll use Eddie Howe.
We can say if Pep leaves, and then Big Sam comes in.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, Big Sam will be respected because of obviously the history, but I'll make an example with a coach like Eddie Howe. You know, so he's a great coach, fine. But now you compare, when you bring him to a Man City, first and foremost, the players are going to be like, what is he going to tell me? It happens like that, yeah. It's a case of, but we can't, what is he going to tell me? Where am I going to learn from this player? Already, the mindset is already on the negative while you're coming in. So the coach now, as opposed to proving a point to the fans, well, it's not even about proving a point, but, you know, proving himself. Now he still has to win the dressing room that has no confidence in him before we can even go any further. So, and it has happened quite a lot here in South African football, where you see a huge change from the player's application on the field of play, mainly because of who's in charge, you know. And it's a case of saying, but you know, I once had a teammate who once told someone at training, the coaches were just right here in front of him. This player's like, but you need to pass. It's like, imagine I don't listen to these ones. What makes you think I listen to you? So you can imagine. So it's just the application and the mindset. So when he says that, I'm thinking, I'm like,
that's Arthur's challenge at Chiefs, you know, and that's the reason why when he came in, he took over, he did an overhaul, and did away with a lot of senior players, because his challenge was that, are they going to respect me the same, you know, as maybe the previous coaches? So now when he's talking about the dressing room, that's now his challenge, because he had to grab hold of that, because you are nothing without the dressing room.
But would you change though, because my question when he speaks about Coach Arthur as well, it's a case of, we were teammates, and I used to say Sia. Now
the coach. It's like a change of. But with that, I hear what you're saying about Coach Arthur in terms of getting rid of the majority of the senior players, being left with a lot of the youngsters. Doesn't that have a negative side to it? Because if you've got a dressing room full of youngsters, yes, it's good, it's building for the future. However, that balance that you need between older players and younger players, which from where I'm sitting and from what you guys were saying, it's what Pirates has and what Chiefs doesn't necessarily have.
That's an issue, and now that's why I said you kind of feel that Pirates will get the results sooner than maybe a Chiefs, because they will fall short. And already you've seen signs of that during this season, where they fall short, and you're thinking, okay, this needs strong minds. This needs a bit of leadership in the field of play. Because when I was there, in my second stint, the only reason why were able to reclaim the glory is that if each player that was next to me was already coached, coached. You know? So the mentality was so strong. There was a Tsepo Masile, there's a Bar, there's, you know, a Bernard Parker, you know, there's a Shabalala, there's a Yeye, you know, all those players, there's a Kune, you know, already coached, you know. So now that makes it easy for you to to win things, you know. And whenever, even when the coach falls short, now that's where the issue is, because even Stuart Baxter fell short sometime, but he was lifted by what? By the players that were already senior players, top players, and already coached from different places. Now, with Coach Arthur, where he can't get to, you know, then it's going to show, because
the players are not coached enough to take him to the end.
Yes.
And I think it's a case of having like more seasoned campaigners who have stood the test of time, because yes, these players, they've been playing from their previous teams. However, where they tested, you know, to that limit where when the storm comes, they'll be able to raise up their hands and, you know, take the bull by its scruff. Because right now, it's quite a few players that you can say, okay, they do have a bit of a fight in them, and some of the players, correct me if I'm wrong, but they still look like it's a shocker for them to be still wearing that jersey, you know. So it's a case of sense of belief right now with that team, where it's very, very low on confidence, irrespective of, I mean, look, in South African football, we all know that when it comes to senior players and so forth, it goes to a certain point, because right now I cannot expect Emato to step up when he's not playing. You get my point in terms of leadership, because one would say to him, yeah, but I'm playing, you're not playing. You know, that happens, whether we like it or not. We cannot shy away from that, you know. Even if he can have that discussion, even if someone is not going to say it to him in his face, but behind his back, someone's going to say, what is he talking about? I'm playing, you know. So I think the honors, I still say, they lie with the players. Like Sia has said, with their team, that was one amazing thing that they had, because it was the amount of experience playing, you know, as opposed to off the field and whatnot. And that playing pedigree that they had, when they took it off the field, that's when now it showed that, okay, this is a team that's led by senior players, but they were very exemplary on the field of play, of which right now that's what Chiefs need. Because yes, Zita is there, he's good at that, but he's also struggling because he hasn't even found his balance as well, whether he's centre-back pairing, you know, all this kind of things. So there's a whole lot going on for a player to start focusing on those kind of things. Keegan is trying, but now you can see that it's overweighing his shoulders now, because it's like, oh, I need to be this, I need to show up, and now it's affecting his performance on the field of play. So it's a case of, on the field of play, they need to, as a team now, to say, we need to take this head on.
Kaizer Chiefs fans, do you think they are being too unfair and too impatient with the rebuild that's happening? Because you see them on social media losing their minds.
They will always be there. They will always be unfair, impatient, and, you know, because for them, they support Chiefs for one reason, right? Or they started to support Chiefs for one reason, because it's an attractive brand that was doing well in the field of play. That's the reason why they supported Chiefs. So attractive football, attractive players, you know, attractive results.
Yeah, true.
So you can't expect any less from them. You know, that's what they. That's why it's kind of unfair to them not to have the stars in their team. Like for instance, if back then Chiefs used to, when there's a star in Peter Marisbeck, Chiefs would recruit that. He would go to Chiefs, you know. But now it doesn't happen that way. Now they have to look for
fighting for crumbs.
Yes, because Sundowns takes, and then you and then after, you know. So it's kind of unfair, because Chiefs has always been associated with that. You know, I joined Chiefs purely because also I was a star at Bloemfontein Celtic.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, true.
So you already a big player, and then you come to Chiefs.
Yeah.
But now they're trying to to make big players. Within.
Yeah.
And now it's very difficult.
No, it's true. I mean, spot on. At the end of the day, when you look at it, in terms of if the fans are fair or not, fans will always be fans. To add on what Sia is saying, Chiefs is known for its elegance, for its luxury, the glamour, but most importantly, for its success. Chiefs has a rich history in terms of camp competitions, winning trophies, or reaching cup finals. So when that fades away, you could see most of the time when these rivalry talks, it's all about, but I won this league so many times. But I won this MTN 8 SA8 or Bob Save and whatnot. Those are the bragging rights that the fans love. But now, for the past 5 years, 5-6 seasons,
when you go to work, you hide.
You can't say much. You can't say much, and it also shows. It's very difficult. Even when you bring a coach that says, "I'm gonna win," I just want to win, regardless of how the results come in. We saw with Ernst Middendorp. I couldn't even understand what was happening, but goal, 3 points, right? And then the fans started saying, "It's kind of football. This is not the Kaizer Chiefs that we know." It's like that. But that's the thing. Now it boils down to what we're saying now, Siana, when we talk about the elegance, the glamour, yes, now we are winning, but we want to win in style. We want to talk about this player, we want to talk about Sia with those passes, all those kind of things, of which right now, it's hard to single out, to point out, to say, so that's why it goes back to the whole personality thing, because that's what we were saying. In terms of Pirates, right now, irrespective of his form, if there's a Sisonke Diski Chat, there's some excitement within the fans, right? But at Chiefs, you start to wonder and say, he's there, but this one, so it's a case of getting the right personnel that's going to show up and have the good personality to say, I'm playing for this team. I'm a big player. The reason why I'm here is because I'm a star in my own right. So if these players, I was lucky. For example, when I broke into the first team, I was surrounded by, great senior players, and especially with Sia as well from the opposition. I used to hang around a lot with him, and you could see how they handle themselves, how they behave. And even on the field of play, training, the application, this person, you'd be like, you don't even have to ask. You just want to see and say, no, this guy is quality, So it's just a sense of belief, walking out there. And when you're walking, you must do the talking on the field of play as well, because it becomes too much of a difference when now you do the talking. These days it's social media, it's this and that. But when you come to, having to deliver on the field of play, then that's when we start bashing, they start coming hard. But with the fans, they'll always be like that. We found them the way they are, and we're gonna depart and leave them the way they are. So it's just a case of understanding why you're there. The main important thing, lift the trophy. Then you'll have the last laugh with them, the same people who are bashing you.
Interestingly enough, you speak about a trophy. Both Chiefs and Pirates are through to the semi-finals of the top 8 competition. How do you rate their chances? And I say rate their chances, who do you think needs this trophy more than the other one to take away pressure?
They both need a trophy badly, Whether it be a cup, because I'm not. It's not my cup.
Even that, actually, you'd be surprised. They need it more right now.
But I don't think they could be aiming for the league. Maybe Pirates is, but for Chiefs, I don't think they could. So a cup competition like the MTN 8 now becomes, very important for them. Because it would it adds to it builds the profile, Galo, of the coach, and and with the players that they have and with the rebuilding and everything, so it's gonna boost them a lot, you know, and they would feel good come end of the season, you know, they would have achieved something, you know, so it becomes more important to them. But when it comes to Pirates, I think one eye is also on the league, you know.
I say both these teams, the only thing right now that will appease their fans, that will appease everyone, it's the league title, because Sundowns has been dominant for quite some time. I mean, not so long ago, Pirates won MTN 8, but we forgot about that, right? Mainly because of the dominance of Mamelodi Sundowns, especially with the league title, to a point that even beginning of the season, everyone is just saying, take the trophy to PTA, you know. So that on its own, I feel like the fans, they're not worried that much about these trophies. Yes, they want them. Everyone wants that. Everyone wants to see change, obviously, but good, positive change, you know. So it's a case of, look, the title, I think, will be the ultimate, you know, for all these teams. However, you don't just get there, you know. It's more like you envy what your neighbor is doing, but envy without taking any lessons from that, I think it's baseless, you know. So for me, I feel like right now they are envying what Mamelodi Sundowns is doing, what Mamelodi Sundowns have built, and to some extent that probably they're taking few notes. We've seen it with so many coaches now. There's this brotherhood in terms of co-coaching and all of that. All the teams now, they're learning from that. From there, now it should be a case of the implementation and trusting the process, because even with Mamelodi Sundowns, it didn't just start overnight. I mean, at some point, Coach Pizzo, you know, everyone wanted him out, and then he went on, they stuck with him, they trusted the process. So even with Coach Arthur right now, they should trust the process, you know, to say rebuilding phase, let's see how it goes, developing phase, up until we get to that maturing phase. Because with Chiefs, one thing that went wrong was that from the class of CS team throughout, from that developing phase, a whole lot of youngsters came through, right? But because they were shadowed by, you know, and guided by most of senior players, when the senior players left, there was no huge void that was left, because these guys were already there, you know, and then it was just a matter of taking on the baton and continuing, right? So now, fast forward when we moved to till now, when they had to lose all these other players as well, or when the players now, the legs couldn't carry them or couldn't deliver, there wasn't anyone below them that was ready to continue, to step up, you know. So now, from that maturity phase, their rebuilding phase, it's going to take longer because they couldn't bridge that gap. So that's where now they need to trust the process to say, that's where we went wrong. Now let's start again, rebuild and go forward, you know. So with Pirates, I see them obviously, they have an eye for the trophy. And I think there would be one team that would be able to stop Mamelodi Sundowns currently, because even Sundowns right now, they, you know, starting to show those cracks. So it's a case of, you know, the application on the day as well. But for both teams, being in the cup final, that would be amazing for them. That would be a good one, especially for Coach Arthur as well. That would be a good one for their confidence and so forth, to the fans to say, we're working on something. Probably the next season, we might be, you know, a force to be reckoned with. So getting to the final right now, I think that's the most important thing before they can talk about winning the trophy.
So as we wrap up, you spoke about who needs a trophy, who wants to finish where. I'm going to start with Chiefs, with you, Sia. Where do you see them finishing at the end of the season?
Inside the top 8.
I mean, that's obvious. It's giving us an obvious one. Don't, he's taking the easy route now.
Anything, but like of late, anything has been possible, you know.
Yeah.
They could finish outside the top 8. I mean, anything has been possible. But maybe let's say, maybe fourth or fifth. Yeah. And Pirates, second.
Okay. Consistency at least. And from you, Brighton?
Pirates is going to win the league.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoa. That's a nice way to end it, actually. That is a nice way to end it. You heard it. Brighton has called it. He says Pirates are going to win the league.
From my mouth to
The players' ears, ne?
yeah, actually, yeah.
And Sia reckons they'll finish second. So Pirates obviously looking like, the team that has more zest to go further and push Sundowns all the way to the end of the season. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on the Sisonke Diski Chat. And hopefully your call will come true. We'll keep our fingers crossed.
No, definitely.
Thank you very much. Anyway, you two at home, thank you very much for joining us on the second episode of season 3 of the Sisonke Diski Chat. We will see you on the flip side.